Welcome to Game Theorem, where we have serious discussions about absurd entertainment.
Hey, Kira.
Yeah?
Do you know what E3 is?
Yeah.
It's like this big game marketing event where corporations want you to buy the new video games. Mm-hmm.
Well, buy the new video games that aren't even out yet.
Yes, they want you to promise to buy them. Also called a pre-order, which is not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is I'm so excited. I can't wait until the new games come out so that I can finally play as my mid-30s Caucasian disgruntled man who is going to be able to solve the hard problems that life throws at him, like pain, sadness, dead children, or not deadly enough with guns. As we know, guns make you deadlier and they make dead kids more dead. Less dead. Same amount of dead? They make you less sad. They make you feel much less of anything at all.
That's
Explosions!
I'm Kira.
I'm Kyle, and I just defined video games.
Yeah. We're talking about E3 again this year.
Yeah. Also, we did one last year at E3 2018, and it's basically the same intro.
Yep.
For a reason.
Yep.
Now, I guess I do think things are getting slightly better, but it's like baby steps at a time.
Yeah, it always is.
And just like last year, we wanted to talk about what the different games were at E3 this year. We didn't pay attention to any of it because we don't.
Yeah.
We literally just looked at it today while we're recording, right before we recorded this episode.
We usually don't ever pay attention to it until we're like at the end, and then we'll see, okay, what's coming out.
Yeah, because a lot of it, they want you to like be into the hype and everything. Because let's face it, if you're waiting for 3 days, or you're in line for 3 hours, or you're at the event even, and you have to have all this build up and effort put in to see something, you're going to probably think it's great just from a subconscious bias because you put so much work into it.
Yeah,
it's called
that's
effort
true.
Justification.
Yep.
It's why how like when a big popular movie that's out and that's actually really terrible, the people that come out of it on the day of will be like, yeah, that was great. Because they've yet to realize how bad the thing that they were so excited for was.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we have some opinions about some of these games. We didn't pay attention to the hype at all. We just waited till E3 was over. And you'll probably hear this within a week or so. I mean, it's going to be late. But, I guess you could call it E3 postmortem.
Yep. And if anyone thinks of any games that were presented or shown at E3 that is not on this list that we don't go over, leave a comment under this maybe, and we'll check it out.
Yeah, we definitely didn't get all the games because it's hard to, especially with some of the indie games, because they just get crowded out by the bigger titles whenever you look for it. And it's kind of hard to find comprehensive lists. Now, we did try, and we're going to go in alphabetical order.
Yep.
I also wanted to mention, though, that there are more opinions on the presentation than the actual games themselves, because sometimes a game can be great and the marketing can be terrible, or vice versa.
Plus, almost all of these aren't out yet, so yeah.
I wanted to give another disclaimer, but I forgot what it was.
Some of these games are rated mature, so yeah. We won't be going into it, so we're not actually going to talk about any violence or anything. But yeah.
Oh, and some of them are ones that it's like, they may be good. We just don't particularly care because they're not our, cup of tea, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. So don't take this as an end-all be-all on opinions on this. Obviously, there are some games that we don't like that other people like.
Right.
Or that we're just not interested in at all.
Okay, and we got a lot of games, so we'll just go through the list of the ones that we watched. So you ready to do this?
Yeah.
All right. How about you go first, so we'll swap off.
All right, let's start with one I'm excited about, Animal Crossing New Horizon. I was impressed.
Oh! I remember the disclaimer I wanted to give. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We are actually pushing this episode up earlier than we were normally going to. You might be a little perplexed why we released 2 wide look episodes in a row. Because this is considered a wide look. We're not going into a deep dive on any particular series.
You're the only one that cares about our episode categories.
That is not true. We have a rotation. Our fans expect us to keep to it. So this one, we decided to push it earlier because it's a more timely thing.
Yeah.
Although I really listened to the 2018 one, at least part of it. Very little has changed.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. Okay, sorry. Animal Crossing New Horizon. What do you want to say about it?
I was impressed. The only problem I've had with the Animal Crossing games over the years is that they had so little to actually go around and do that I just felt like I got bored with them pretty quickly. And so this one actually looks like there's a lot to do because there's actual crafting and resources and building up a deserted island from nothing, which seems pretty interesting to me, honestly.
Yeah. And, listeners who haven't heard of any of these, you might want to look up the trailers just to know what we're talking about, but we'll try to give you as much context as we can. Mm-hmm. Now, personally, I don't have much of an opinion on Animal Crossing. I haven't played it. Mm-hmm. I was more into Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
But one thing that was very interesting that they mentioned with Animal Crossing is Nintendo said that the game was delayed a year until 2020 for the sake of helping their workers and not having to force them to go through crunch time. Mm-hmm. Now, if that's true, that is a really good move. More companies should do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's also a very expensive decision because you're basically paying your workers to keep working as opposed to trying to rush it out the door and get the workers to hurry up already. Mm-hmm. So if that's true, that's awesome, and we should see more of that. It's scary that is a thing that has to be pointed out. Mm-hmm. It's almost like selling organic meat or any other type of organic food product, where you're literally advertising, "Hey, this is eco-friendly." But with games, it's like, oh, hey, we don't treat our workers like poop. So if it's true, that's great. Nintendo has had a history of treating their workers better than some of the other companies.
Yeah, that's true.
As long as you don't have any type of what they consider scandalous history, which includes feminism, for the record. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the CEOs or the executives took a huge pay cut when the company was faltering during the Wii U era. Mm-hmm. And that is a big example of their sacrifice. Mm-hmm. So that's something maybe, yeah, Nintendo is not a perfect company by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm willing to possibly believe them on this one.
Yes. Also, I'm excited for the game.
I'm excited for the workers' rights. Revolution! I'm kidding.
Are you interested
Revolution
in this game at all?
Revolution 1 Switch game at a time.
Oh my god. Did the trailer interest you in the Animal Crossing series at all?
No, it just seems like an Animal Crossing game. Although I guess with the building mechanic, I'd be more interested in this one than any other.
Yeah, that's what impressed me about this one, is that it's different than any of the others. So it wasn't like a normal Animal Crossing game.
Animal Crossing is a series where it's like escapism to a peaceful world. I don't particularly care about that. I mean, I kind of get it with Mario, but see, I prefer escape to a thought-provoking world. It can be peaceful or not. I don't care. Just give me something to think about. Give me something my brain can chew on.
Okay. All right.
So next is, sorry.
Next is Astral Chain.
Yeah. Go ahead and say what you thought about it first.
I was impressed. Looked like a potentially good story, and the gameplay looked pretty exciting, similar to like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry series.
Kind of reminded me of like a very anime Fire Emblem version of Digimon.
What? Okay.
Where they're basically like, it's very anime, but it's 3D and the graphics look great, and they have these like digital robot monsters they tether themselves to.
I guess.
The plot line seemed kind of obtuse and arbitrary. I felt the game looked impressive, but the trailer I don't think was very good at all. and this is a critique I have of anime in general. A lot, I don't know if it's a cultural difference or something, but I just don't feel like whether it's a trailer or like an opening to an anime series, they almost are always universally bad and don't actually tell you anything about what you're about to get into.
Yeah.
And because they threw story terms at you, but not in a way that like it painted a picture of what was going on. You're just like, okay, so that's involved, that's involved, that's involved. How do they fit together? Who knows?
All right. All right.
I think there's potential there, but it didn't sell it to me.
All right.
I am picky. I know it.
You are incredibly picky.
I have limited free time.
All right. You want to say this next one?
How about you just name all the ones?
All right.
If you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I am impressed and excited for this because there hasn't been one since the isometric days. Baldur's Gate 2 was an old RPG in the traditional isometric style.
Do you think we're going through like the video game version of the gritty reboot? You know, because that was like a whole thing in like movies where it's still kind of going on in a way, but especially during the 90s and 2000s, the gritty reboot. I feel like in video games, we're just taking a lot of really old IPs that did really well and trying to bring them forward.
Yeah, maybe. But I think they did this one amazingly because all they had to do was show the Lovecraftian, like the Cthulhu at the end. And I was like, yes.
I had never heard of the series before. And it seemed very fantasy. There was, castles and knights.
Usually I was fantasy. And like I said, the last time they did a Baldur's Gate 2 was an isometric.
Right. So they show this knight, and the knight starts undergoing this transformation in the trailer. And I didn't know what's happening. I've never seen the series. I don't know who this person is. But then, like, basically this is what I wrote down in my notes. Don't know what's happening. Don't care. Eldritch horror. Because the guy sprouts tentacles and becomes a squid monster. And you're like, is that Cthulhu? And I'm like, it looks like, I don't know, but I want to know now. I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, that's one way to grab attention.
Yeah, I mean, one reason I don't like fantasy, we've had a whole episode on this, on the fantasy stereotypes, so check that out. One reason I don't like it is because it's typical European medieval themes. You throw Eldritch horrors in there, you've suddenly got something else, a new type of fantasy. And look, it doesn't have to be Eldritch, it doesn't have to be Lovecraftian. But it helps.
Yeah.
It's a cool mythos, at least when you take a modern version instead of the racist old one.
So I'm excited for this, and I'm excited to see what it turns out like.
Me too. I'll keep an eye on it, but I probably won't play it.
I probably will, depending on if it's isometric or not, because I can't stand isometric.
I just don't know if I can get into a third entry in a game without playing the previous ones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially after it's been so long since they made one. They're going to pretty much ignore the lore of the first two games and just set it in the same world.
Well, then they might make an active effort to make it more welcoming. But
They probably will.
We got a lot more games to go through. We got to go a bit faster than this.
All right, Blair Witch, horror, not interested.
Yeah, very tropey. Like, it looked like a horror movie just in video game form. So, yeah, no further comment. We're going to need to go through some of these quickly, not spend too much time on the ones that we just felt were bland.
All right, Bleeding Edge. The characters look interesting, but otherwise, Fortnite clone.
Yeah, or a Fortnite / Overwatch competitor. Honestly, I feel like the only difference between Fortnite and Overwatch is the way the gameplay works. The visual style and the focus on characterization and the lack of story.
Yeah.
Basically the same game. And this is going to be another one of those. The characters, though, the designs are really great. And I think that's where games like these really shine.
Yeah.
The character design was amazing. And it was even, like, I noticed there was this really overweight woman as one of the main characters.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually really cool. Diversity in body types.
Yeah.
And she was a hero or fighter like all the rest.
All right, Borderlands 3. I like the cool new characters they introduced, and I like that they keep Lilith hopefully at a front and center role.
I'm I'm much less excited about Borderlands. I've always considered the Borderlands series like a B game series. The gameplay is very repetitive and redundant. That really gets me out of it. And the story is, you have to work hard just to get anything out of it. But the art style's always been really amazing. And it is a fun game. I was somewhat impressed. They also basically pimped out Lilith, where in the initial shot of the trailer, they show really close up on Lilith's body, really objectifying her. I did not appreciate that. You might as well have just had a big tagline that said, "This game is for men." But what's cool, one thing that's cool is that they have a new character called Amara, who is a siren who isn't Caucasian. The first one ever. And so that's pretty cool. We've said this before, but they're getting better about diversity. There are other characters I didn't care about so much.
I felt like they had interesting potential for playstyle. Like there was a mech one and then the Beastmaster one.
I guess, but when you have a robot character, that's one less from the pool of diversity.
Oh, I guess. Well, he wasn't a mech. He just has moves to go into a mech.
Oh, I was thinking of the Beast one.
Oh, he's a Beastmaster.
Yeah, but he was like completely clothed.
Oh, yeah, true.
And we're only assuming it's a he, but come on, it's a he.
Yeah, Gearbox has always done the 3 players featuring the girl thing. Well, they always do it.
Well, they've gotten better about that. But if you have a cloaked character and his gender is not immediately identifiable, it's probably going to be a he. Just look at Claptrap. And that's where I want to bring in, there's a big controversy with Gearbox where the Claptrap voice actor basically didn't get paid, and so they aren't going to use him anymore in the new game. And yeah, honestly, the company seems like it might be kind of unethical. Or at least the executive.
Yeah. All right, Chivalry 2. Not interested. Just realistic medieval battles.
I'll give them points in that it wasn't fantasy. It was just European medieval history. The thing that I dislike the most of fantasy.
Yeah. All right.
But I mean, I'm just saying, if you release European medieval and you don't put magic in it, that's kind of brave in a way.
I guess. Let's keep going.
Yeah, not original.
Control looks interesting, but I want to know more.
Yeah, we saw a trailer for this previously. It was cool, but there just really wasn't much to go on, and most of what I know from it was from the last trailer.
Yep. All right, Crossfire X. Boring.
Guns, no further comment.
Cyberpunk 2077, and they ruined it.
Disappointing. Unimpressed.
Yeah, they basically turned it into the typical white male protagonist with the gun.
Yeah, where did the RPG go? Like, that's what everyone loved about The Witcher.
Yeah, and even The Witcher wasn't perfect, but...
No, but, like, the gameplay mechanics were there. They had the theme as set dressing, and the theme is what... Like, keeping the core of what they made and changing out the theme is really what I wanted this game to be. And it looks like it's going to be nothing of the sort. They're making it into a first-person shooter. Like, you don't even have a customized character. Well, I mean, I guess The Witcher didn't have that. But I feel like that would have been a good thing to add into this.
Yeah, not only that, but it's so boring. Like, he's the typical, trying to get rich and loses his best buddy because something goes wrong.
Oh, yeah, I saw that movie in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks like the game is going to be a dud, and that really saddens me, to be honest.
Yeah, because I had more faith in CD Projekt Red. Like, they should have done better, and they just, like... It was really disappointing.
And I guess I just hope that they do add parts of the game that are worth it, but I just don't feel like there's going to be any overcoming that. I think it might be their Fallout 4, basically, where it's like, okay, I guess it's a good game, but it's a pale comparison of what it should have been.
All right, Deathloop. I was very impressed.
This came out of nowhere.
Yeah, but
as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, but I was very impressed, and they finally did the repeated day thing right.
Yeah, like the Groundhog Day scenario, Edge of Tomorrow kind of thing. I was very impressed, and I don't know who the guy's name, but the guy that they had to voice the male main character, you hear his voice in so many games. Like, he's throughout Fallout.
Yeah.
And the woman, I mean, it's so hard to find African American women characters that I don't recognize her at all. But yeah, that's right. 2 African American leads.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? This is a first, I think. A first at E3. The last game that I can even recall that had an African American lead was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas over like 15 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm excited for it. I want to know more.
And the plot was cool. I'm just going to explain the plot real quick, what we could glean from the trailer.
Okay.
Because apparently, like the guy wakes up, he's like on an island or something. He goes into a town and he's trying to kill this woman. And the woman's trying to kill him. But every time they die, they wake up again. For some reason, they think that the only way out of the cycle is to kill the other, but they keep going in a cycle and like a cycle of death. It's almost like it's a commentary on the multiplayer formula where you're just in an arena, a death match where you go kill the other person and you reboot. Except they're actual characters and humans with feelings who are being driven insane from this scenario.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Oh my goodness. What did we talk about so far? Yeah, I think that's my number 1 game so far. I was really impressed with Deathloop. That was my favorite game so far that we've mentioned at E3.
Mm-hmm. All right, Destroy All Humans remake. I haven't seen the original. The graphics seem cool, but it seemed kind of just silly.
It seems silly, but I kind of thought it was silly in a fun way, you know? Like,
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with silly.
Yeah, it seemed kind of fun.
But I can't help but asking, like, why? What's the point of this game? You just kill people?
I don't know.
I mean, you play as the aliens invading, and I mean, I've played games where you just kill people before, but they're never really that fulfilling.
Yeah.
Next.
All right, Doom Eternal. It's typical Doom. You
Call
play
of
Doom
Duty.
guy, you kill demons.
It's Call of Doomy. And even the story trailer was confusing. I was like, what's going on here?
Basically, demons took over Earth.
I thought that already happened. Okay.
No, they just broke out on in the facility.
So basically the last game where you try to prevent that from happening, you failed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is foreshadowed at the end of the last one. Like it foreshadows that it'll infect Earth.
Oh no, demons are coming. Let's shoot them with guns to stop them. Twist. There were too many demons.
All right. Dying Light 2. Boring white male protagonist again.
I mean, the gameplay, if it's anything like the first one, seems cool and unique. It's a lot of kind of parkour take on the zombie genre. Mm-hmm. But the story seems basically the same. Run from zombies. And of course, what you were saying, Kira. Yeah. Again, 30-year-old Caucasian man.
All right. Elden Ring. Boring.
Fantasy. No further comment.
All right, so we want to mention that Fallout 76 is coming out with a new Battle Royale expansion.
Yeah, we've talked about what we think about Fallout 76. I don't remember if we didn't make it clear, it was a bad game.
Yeah.
It was missing characters, NPCs, quests, all that. And so now they're making an expansion to kind of try to bring it back. It's basically
a Fortnite expansion.
Basically, yes.
They have a vault.
51. And by the way, the 50s vaults are supposed to be in Middle America. And West Virginia is barely Middle America. It's basically East Coast.
Yeah.
So I have an issue with them picking Vault 51. See, part of the reason is there's only a finite number of vaults in the Fallout universe. So every time that Bethesda makes a bad game and they use up more vault numbers, to me, that's throwing potential into the waste bin.
Yep.
It's like, you know what? Make up your own numbers. They should have done that from the beginning. There were only supposed to be like 120 vaults, right? When they started making games on the East Coast, they just should have started a different numbering system.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, basically there's a Vault 51 and they have a competition to kill each other for who gets to be Overseer.
So basically it's like they didn't listen to anybody about what the game actually needed.
Mm-hmm. And they literally took Fortnite's formula. Like, there's a ring of fire that slowly gets smaller, and it's Battle Royale.
This will be a running theme throughout this whole thing. We gotta get going.
All right.
Fortnite galore.
FIFA 20, boring.
Sports, no further comment. Honestly, they should just have like an MMO sport game that they update because it's basically the same game with just new content every year.
Yep. Fire Emblem, Three Houses. I'm not into it, so I can't say any details about the story, but it seems impressive.
Yeah, there seems to be lots of story. It seems very focused on that. Like, maybe I should get into the series. Like, it seems fantasy, but it seems a slightly different take on it, maybe. But, I mean, it's anime and there's no diversity, but I don't know. Maybe there's a point to it. Maybe I should give it a chance.
All right, Gear 5. I was actually impressed. It looks way cooler this time around with the protagonists.
Oh yeah, very diverse. They had an African American woman, which is something, and they had more than that as well.
Oh, the African American man who's the main character is actually the same actor who
Did Deathloop?
yeah, in Deathloop.
Yep. But yeah, I mean,
It looks cool.
the series has gone a long way.
It seems more interesting than any of the others.
It's still your kind of Doom, let's kill demons kind of thing, though, which kind of bothers me.
Well, it's aliens, and
But they're very humanoid a lot of the time.
I guess, but
Sometimes.
basically the background is that they invaded, and you're the last part of humanity trying to kill them. So yeah.
It's just the common thing of like, we need some type of easily killable object. We are definitely having an episode on that in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. It's basically a white male power fantasy.
I was going to say guns, no further comment, but then I realized that it's also kind of psychotic.
Yeah,
Literally, the trailer, the
yeah.
guy was just like, I don't feel powerful enough. I don't feel deadly enough.
Yeah,
And
it was
that-
really creepy.
It was actually really disturbing.
Yeah.
If that guy was saying that in anything of like a modern scenario, we would probably want to lock him up. Mm-hmm. And I think it actually was a modern scenario of some sort.
Yeah. All right, Ghostwire Tokyo. They definitely got me interested with all the Japanese culture in this game.
I made a joke saying the snap just happened,
Oh yeah, because there was a point in the trailer where people just disappeared.
but I seemed impressed. It seems to be like, well, like first of all, it is in Japan, not anime Japan, like actual Japan.
Yeah, Tokyo.
Yeah, but yokai are real.
Maybe that's the premise. It seems like a sort of psychological thing.
But you could see an oni.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, probably.
So
And by the way, the main character was completely covered up. And so we were just hoping that they didn't make the main character white. And then at
Considering
the end, we heard him and we could tell that he was Japanese.
well, it's in Japan, so that
Yeah.
figures. Next.
All right, Gods and Monsters. There's really not very much information to go on.
Very short trailer. Can't form much of an opinion on it. Although I will commend Ubisoft on at least going outside of their comfort zone from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, all right. Guilt. I was
Is
very
it guilt or jilt?
I think
Gilt?
it's Guilt. I think it's Guilt.
Okay.
I was very impressed with the art style and the type of horror that they show in this game.
Yeah. See, this is what's different from the game, the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
This game was actually terrifying.
Yeah.
It wasn't tropey at all. The fact that you're playing as a little girl makes it a lot scarier because it's from her perspective. Like you see things written on the walls of like a bully tormenting you. So it doesn't seem like, look, it's a demon from the underworld gonna get you. It's more like there's some entity here that wants to psychologically bully me into submission.
Yeah, it's really creepy. All right, Halo Infinite, boring. I'm done with the Halo series. I used to play with my brother's multiplayer, and that's the only fun I've ever gotten out of it.
See, the trailer was kind of manipulative. It's like the whole thing's from another side character that we're probably never going to see again, and the entire point was just to build up to where he sees, oh, Mr. Mascot Chief is dead.
Yeah.
And then, oh, wait, no, he's not. He's good now. Let's talk about his story now. Forget the other guy. Also, if it's Halo Infinite, what are they going to call the sequel? Infinite plus one?
I don't know. All right, so Nintendo did a teaser to show that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is in development.
It's not called that, though. They haven't given it a name.
Yes, but they wanted to ensure people that it was in development, and I'm excited because it looks like they're actually going to have Zelda as a character.
I'm just going to call it by its acronym and then add something on the end to show my disdain for it. It's Laws Botwa 2 or something.
Whatever. I'm excited to see what that comes out of it because it looks like they're actually taking the story from Breath of the Wild seriously and just running with it, like continuing on.
I can respect that.
Yeah. All right, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I was really impressed with the graphics, and it looks interesting. This is a complete remake of, I think, one of the very first Zelda games.
I mean, I don't like it because it's Zelda, but I can respect how they are staying very faithful to the original games. It literally looks like you're playing the old game, but with modern graphics.
Yeah, the graphics are really good. All right, Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. Honestly, it seems better than the actual movies because it has some humor.
But it's Star Wars, so I have no further comment.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Luigi's Mansion 3. I was very impressed. The graphics looked amazing, and I like Luigi's Mansion, so.
I was impressed. I was begrudging to admit, okay, it looks pretty awesome. And it even has a teeny little bit of story to it.
Well,
which is asking a lot of Mario these days.
Yeah, but I feel like it's sort of returning to the original Luigi's Mansion sort of style.
I don't believe anything they'll do will top the original one, though, because I feel like they were more willing to take risks with the original one.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. All right, Madden 20.
I mean, what do you call Mario Sunshine, if anything but a risk?
Oh, yeah. That was amazing, though.
Some people don't like it, but I think you should at least respect that they tried to do something different.
It was a really good game. All right, Madden 20.
Sports.
Boring.
Yeah, no further comment.
They come out with one every year. All right, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020. This is a game they do every 2 years for the summer and winter Olympic Games, so...
Yeah, I'll stand by. Like, I think the first one was amazing and revolutionary. Every other one just kind of seems like a DLC add-on to it. Not bad, but it's more new, I guess.
Yeah, Marvel's Avengers seem boring.
To me, it seemed like MCU bonus content. And by that I mean, like, if that's what you want, there you go, more of it.
Yeah, I guess.
And
I just don't like superhero games that much.
It depends how the gameplay is. It seems very story focused.
I guess.
The trailer seemed to imply it was almost like an Injustice version, but I feel like that was just a kind of manipulative story cutting in the trailer.
All right, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. Boring.
Okay, now I disagree with you on this. I'm not really into comics. I mean, neither of us are. But, like, if I was into comics, I would be all over this game.
Oh, because there's so many characters?
So many. Like, I love...
They showed, like, almost all of them in the trailer.
I love games, especially fighting games, that have tons of characters. Because to me, that's the entire point. I would rather play a broken game with 100, 200 characters than a really refined one with 20. Looking at you, Mortal Kombat. Because I like being able to play as all the characters. I like seeing the whole roster. I like it being essentially a slice of a series that you love. Now this one isn't one I'm particularly into, but I would want to play it.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
See, since comics are a lot to get into, to me this could be a way as like a touchstone for people. Like, oh, who's this character? Oh, who's this character? Mm-hmm. And they have the X-Men, they have the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, a whole bunch of people. So, I don't know. I think it's ambitious.
Yeah, all right. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Really cool graphics and character designs. I love the design of the monsters and stuff. I just am not very much into this indie platformer type of game. There are a ton of them. Owlboy, Celeste.
What? You're not into that?
I suck at platformers, so I don't really like them that much.
You would prefer more puzzle-based?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, the distinction between the two is kind of blurry.
I guess. I
think it looked pretty cool. The video was nice. The graphics were too. And the monsters were amazing.
Yeah, they had really, really cool
Not
design.
humanoid at all.
Mm-hmm. All right, The Outer Worlds. This literally looks like it's going to be New Vegas, but, like, out in space. Like, I want it, but unfortunately, it's going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive for a year, which sucks, but I want it so bad.
I mean, we talked about that before, but yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a very cool practice. We talked about Steam kind of having a monopoly, but not really knowing what to do with it. I think, honestly, we just wish we had like a Title II of game distributions where you didn't have to worry about what platform it was on. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I want Obsidian to make money, and if that's what they think is best, I'm not going to personally flip out about it, but I understand why people are upset.
Yeah.
But really for me, all that just means is, okay, I guess I'll be waiting a year.
Yeah.
I do love the anti-corporate message.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I really
love it.
love that. It almost seems like they're...
It seems like what Borderlands could have been if they leaned more heavily
if they actually said the implicit themes.
Yeah.
And yeah, Obsidian, I can't wait to see what they do with this game. I think it's going to be great. Like, the trailer literally even says you can be a good guy or a bad guy or a psychopath, which seems like a dig at their previous games, whereas companies like Bethesda, to them, being bad is being a psychopath. There is no middle ground.
Yeah.
Whereas Obsidian saying like, oh, you get more than two choices.
Yep. All right, Outriders. At least there's a female main character, but it just seems like a regular shooter.
Yeah, I was going to say guns, no further comment, but there is a female lead, and hey, women should be able to lead gunslinging action games too. Doesn't make them great games, but the inclusion in even the bad ones.
Panzer Dragon. Cool graphics. It's a nice art style.
It seemed neat.
Yeah. Pokemon Sword and Shield. We're just waiting for the better version that's going to come out after these two.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Not the Pokemon, I just mean like also you. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, first of all, the graphics are nice. They are very pretty, but boring, because nothing's going to get over the fact that they're basing it on Galar. They're basing it on the European medieval fantasy tropes. I mean, sure, it's in Britain, but everything seems to be talking about a very specific time period in Britain.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. They have this new gimmick called Dynamax. It's replacing Mega Evolution.
I hate the replacement stuff, because it's just like...
It's a gimmick.
Yeah.
And to me, Mega Evolution was awesome. Z moves, they were pretty cool too. This new Dynamax thing is basically your Pokemon turns giant. It comes across looking very cheap, because you know that all they did was scale it up. They didn't put much work. They probably could have coded the Dynamax mechanic in a day's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm really not impressed with that. And like you said, they've really started nickel and diming the consumers by making more versions than are necessary.
Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. So that screwed us over, so
yeah.
We're probably not going to buy any Pokemon games for a while.
Well, I won't be buying any new ones. I'll wait till the third or fourth versions of the game come out.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to buy multiple.
Yep.
And I want to talk about, there's a controversy about the limited Pokemon you can get in the game. A lot of people are saying that the national dex does not include every Pokemon, or that there is no truly national dex, Pokedex of all the Pokemon. And if that was all that the story was, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. It's just a Rolodex. It's a listing. It'd be nice, and it doesn't take much work. But probably the thing that takes the most work is researching the Pokedex entries and typing all that out. But aside from that, it's just a Rolodex. But it's more than that, actually. They simply aren't including all the Pokemon. This will be the first Pokemon game in a long time to only have half of the entire roster.
Yep.
Which is pretty alarming, and people are upset about that. And I kind of understand, because I'm not freaking out about it, because on a certain level, it's like I figured there might be a cutoff at some point. What I wasn't expecting was for it to be sudden, unannounced, unexpected, and unplanned for.
Yeah.
Their reason is like, oh, well, it takes a lot of work to make the animations. And everyone knows that's not true. Why are you lying about it, Nintendo? You've been reusing the same assets since X and Y.
Yeah.
So that's not true. And even if it did take extra work, which I'm sure to some extent it does, future-proofing and whatnot, maybe just make fewer games. Seriously, we didn't used to always have Pokemon games every 2 years or so.
Yeah.
I would rather there be fewer but better Pokemon games. If it takes you an extra 2 years to make it, delay the game. You did it for Animal Crossing, why not this one?
Yeah.
So your excuse is a lie. You just don't want to include all of them. So at least be upfront about it. Honestly, we were approaching the 1,000 Pokemon limit. So I was thinking that maybe then we could have like a hard reboot. It could be incorporated into the story. Maybe there'd only be like one Pokemon game that came out to signify that trading won't be as important anymore since there's a limit on how many Pokemon you can get.
Yeah.
It would have been something that was anticipated rather than just, oh, we're cutting you off suddenly. It's like the drug equivalent or the game equivalent of the drug phrase quitting cold turkey.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't like quitting cold turkey. You're going to get a backlash from it. I don't blame them.
Yeah. It's just, bleh. All right, Psychonauts 2.
Wait. I wanted to say, they could have actually, with the last Pokemon game, Sun and Moon, talked a lot about invasive species. They had the Alolan forms of Pokemon which had speciated.
So they could have explained that.
They also had Ultra Beasts that were a metaphor for invasive species. So they could have, in Britain, had something about immigration or invasive species, where they literally forbid certain Pokemon from entering the region for either environmental or prejudicial reasons. That would have been a way to incorporate it into the narrative, and it wouldn't have caught everyone off guard.
Yep.
It would have even given them a fictional entity to pass the blame onto.
Yeah. All right. Psychonauts 2.
Sorry, I had to get all that out.
I know. Psychonauts 2. Really cool graphics, and I'm slightly impressed with the concept.
Yeah, I don't really get it, but the cartoony style looked pretty amazing.
All right. Rainbow Six Quarantine.
You don't have to rush. We got time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was just a gun game. No further comment.
Yeah. Roller Champions. I like the character designs, and the concept is pretty interesting.
I like them making a new sport. It is just a sports game, but it's a fictional one that you can't do in real life. It's something they're entirely their own, where you're like racing and there's balls and you're like on roller skates and there's like energy or something.
Yeah.
It's unique, and that's great. I think that's what more art should be.
Mm-hmm. All right. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars, not interested.
Yeah, don't care about Star Wars.
All right. The Sims 4 came out with an island expansion, or is coming out with an island expansion. And it's just another one of EA's expansions, basically a new place to vacation. But they included new mermaid Sims, I believe, which is kind of cool.
You've gotten really into The Sims lately.
I have fun with it.
There's that playthrough that's going online of that woman, Kelsey, right?
Yeah.
She's like having 100 babies on The Sims.
Yeah.
That was my first time ever watching The Sims.
Yeah.
I was more into Spore. But it seems cool.
Yeah, I kind of want to, I want to get the island expansions. It'd be cool.
Did you know that The Sims it has the world record for the most expansions for a single game?
Of course it does. And they charge like $20 to $40 for each single one. Because it's EA.
Are they worth it?
Some are, some aren't.
Yeah, so mixed bag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Division 2, boring.
Yeah, again, this game was we did it last time too. And we talked about
an expansion because it says episode 3.
Oh, it's like Life is Strange. They divide into episodes.
Oh, yeah, but yeah.
So it's still being released, basically. They're releasing it a piece at a time.
Which is ridiculous.
Well,
come on.
I mean, I could see it being abused. I could see them just doing the bare minimum of content. But also, I can kind of also respect the idea of releasing what you've got so far every now and then.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But my big bone to pick with The Division 2 is how the creators of the game are touting the game as being supposedly apolitical and that there's no message that the game gives, despite how manipulative the trailer was last year. Yeah. This year it was boring. I barely even paid attention to it. I literally don't remember what it was.
Yeah. All right.
No, we got 15 minutes.
I want to talk about the next one.
Okay, well, let me talk about this one first before we get to the next one. You keep rushing me like this. We're going to have to end the episode early. But I wanted to talk about The Division 2, though, because the entire premise of the game is politics.
Yeah.
There's been a civil war in the country. The government has had a coup.
Yeah.
Now, what do the sides represent? It's extremely vague. It's extremely unclear.
Probably on purpose.
I haven't played the game, and it's not even finished yet. So maybe it will eventually, hopefully, buy it and see and find out, give us money. I think that's kind of the message that I'm getting from it. But the fact they're saying, oh no, it's apolitical. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, you'll get it. Which tells me they're doing the centrist both sidesism while also showing a civil war.
Yeah.
What they're doing is basically saying, or they're making them devoid of any political beliefs to the point where either side can envision themselves as the good guys.
Yeah.
And not in such a way of like where both sides are justifiable. Your side, the player side, is the justifiable one. Whether that's left or right leaning, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They've written it in such a way that it's so baseless that it can be interpreted either way.
Yep.
Which is kind of spineless to me. I mean, look, I would be all for one for having a progressive game telling a story that makes sense. You know, fascists taking over, since that's how it basically always works. Whether it's like Wolfenstein
Yeah.
or like a corporate propaganda kind of thing.
Yep.
But if you really wanted to appeal to the more conservative players and you didn't want to lose that fan base, you could make a political schism that is alien to our own. That is not a direct correlation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what you're doing is making a direct correlation. You're just blurring it.
Yeah.
You could have, like, this is what science fiction does really well. They could talk about issues of racism while not talking about any real races,
Yeah.
like using alien species or something. So they could have done something like that there. Like, I don't know, talk about an issue that people think is going to be in the near future, but we haven't really gotten to yet. Like,
sure.
I don't know, nanotechnology or privacy, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, there's just so many things they could have done and they just didn't, and they keep not doing it. I'm so done with that game.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to mention that some of my points might have been helped to articulated by a YouTube channel we watch called Jim Sterling.
All right.
Just want to throw that credit in there.
All right. Vampires: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Okay, so
I'll
Vampires...
just be quiet.
Vampires: The Masquerade Bloodlines is a game that came out in like 2001, around there. Basically came around, I think, before Morrowind or around the time of Morrowind. But it was an amazing RPG that was supposed to be set in a modern city for the time, where you played as a newly turned vampire, and it had character creation, so many different stats, and lots and lots of non-violent ways to get through the game. And they're making a new one, so I'm very impressed. It looks amazing. I'm really hoping that they do character creation like the first one, and that it has all the RPG options the first one does. But from the trailer, it looks like they are doing that, so I'm very happy and excited for this.
Cool. Is that all you want to say, or?
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm honestly impressed. I had never heard of this before, but I feel like maybe I should have, because it just, I looked at it, I was like, it looks like a vampire RPG. Like, if you take away the whole vampire theme and setting to it, I mean, you don't even, it seems like a vampire take on a really well done RPG. This is probably the closest thing to Fallout New Vegas I've seen on here, even more so than the Outer Worlds. This looks more Obsidian than the game Obsidian's making,
Really?
which I think is just a testament to good RPG games. And what?
I was surprised that you said it looks more Obsidian than that.
Yeah, I think so, because, I mean, it could also be the trailer and the way it portrays it, but it was very clear that, like, yeah, there's guns in this game. You can do violence, but that's not the priority here.
Yeah.
The priority is the storytelling.
And vampire politics.
Yeah, and that's also a thing, because I don't really care about vampires. I'm not a fan of most vampire stories. But the way that they wrote it, the way, the intrigue, the political intrigue, like I don't like to
In
me
the
vampire.
original game, you could be a part of any one of them.
But to me, like the vampires were just like the elite, the factions. They, I guess you could say I want to get into it despite the vampires, but that wouldn't be correct. It's more like, oh wow, this is a serious political issue that I hadn't really considered before. Vampire versus not vampire, and what do you do with that power, and what do you do about the fact that you're predating? Now, this issue is completely fictional, but I still want to know. I want to go into this world and find out.
Well, it's not just that. It's different types of vampires being politically against
Yeah, that's what I
each
said.
other.
Like, that power and what you do with it.
Yeah,
You fight other people with the power.
I guess. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. So yeah, actually, H Bomber Guy said that there was 4 games that he put above all the rest as like the most amazing RPG games ever.
Oh, was it the original one?
Yeah, the original
thought I
one was on the
recognized
list.
that.
Vampire Bloodlines Massacre was
So
on
yeah,
that.
it's literally been compared to New Vegas before,
Yeah.
which we tout as one of the best RPGs ever.
Yep.
So yeah, I honestly, this looks really impressive. And Deathpool, Vampire, was there another one? The Outer Worlds, I guess. So those are the top 3 games I'm taking away so far. Mm-hmm. But like, I don't like fantasy. But that doesn't mean sci-fi has to be the only way. Don't get me wrong. I loved New Vegas, and I had high hopes for Cyberpunk 2077. But it doesn't have to be sci-fi. Someone could make a really good Eldritch RPG.
Yeah.
Or just like, I
Like,
don't know.
I hope Baldur's Gate 3 is a good one.
Or a yokai RPG,
Yeah.
So vampires, it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I wasn't planning on really enjoying a vampire RPG, but it makes me want to.
Yeah. The trailer was really good at showcasing the RPG elements.
Oh yeah, they like literally showed you dialogue trees and stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess let's just hope the game lives up to what the trailer portrayed. And
Yeah.
again, I want to commend the trailer on really deprioritizing the gunplay.
Because it did show some of it, but yeah.
They literally show a scene though where it's like that you could execute someone and they give you a choice not to.
Yep.
Although I hope the decisions aren't always that simple and binary.
I don't think they will be. And I think the situation is more complicated from if you listen to what they said about him.
We'll see.
All right, so Watch Dogs Legion. It seems like they're doing something a little different
It's that
this time
hacking
in the
game.
Watch Dogs series.
It's that game where you hack everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how it's going to turn out. I've never been into Watch Dogs. I always thought it was because it always did the same white male protagonist. But, maybe they'll do something different this time.
It was very anti-government in the way of like Big Brother and fascist and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it seems strangely corporate agnostic. Like,
Maybe, but I think it's just that we didn't get to see that.
no, but
'cause-
with all the technology they're using to hack into things, I'm just kind of like, wait a minute, where's the copyright at? Where's the propriety at?
Oh, I get what you mean.
Where are the brand names on everything? It seems like, oh yeah, we're not fighting against corporations. We don't want to say that. We're fighting against the bad guys. Because, I mean, when you really think about it, while it might be hard to believe in this age, fighting the Big Brother oppressive fascist style government should be a given. I feel like the fact that we give so much credit to it is really a low bar.
Yeah.
So you got to do something more than that, Watch Dogs. You gotta rise above that.
Yeah, I feel like the trailer, though, just didn't show enough to show me whether they're going to
Watch
do
Dogs
that
has
or
had a
not.
very spotty history. I don't trust their track record.
I don't either, but it interested me more than the last ones.
Speaking of fighting fascism, but doing a bit more,
Wolfenstein Youngblood. I'm excited for this.
I'll
They
put
have
this as
two main female protagonists, and it's maybe co-op?
I'll put this as a number 4 for games that I want.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they're fighting fascists, which I just said was very low bar. But I've always liked the Wolfenstein reboots, where they did a what if the Nazis won the war, and let's take it 20 years down the line. And they made Blazkowicz a Jewish American, and they're a part of the resistance. I don't know, it's like a humble America in a way, because they lost their victims or a resistance survivors fighting, and I think it's interesting, and I feel like honestly the wave of fascism in America again has really made this game very prominent, because the people behind Wolfenstein, were they Machine Games, I think,
I don't know.
They have made it very clear that they're not going to appease the racists. They're going to still kill Nazis because they're Nazis.
Yeah.
So I think the game's good. It definitely has a story to it, a very much fight the power kind of thing. It's a lot like Watch Dogs with the whole anti-government thing, but it's in a world where corporations really just don't exist because they never had the chance to.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains away that problem. But you're right, it has the female leads, and that I think is amazing. It almost feels to me like some executives are like, okay, our players are down for Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein 2 was just more of Wolfenstein 1. We need some young blood in our player base. And one person goes, I have an idea. Where you literally just have the main characters be young blood. Seriously, having 2 female playable characters is probably going to bring in a larger female player base and a younger one. Because let's be honest, a lot of young men like to play as young women in the games. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it probably won't alienate them.
Yeah.
And then, if it's co-op, if it's not co-op, I don't know. But if it is co-op, we might get it just so we can play it together.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. We'll see if it really lives up to it. I liked when the one woman flicked off somebody.
That was funny.
Like, it's one thing to be like literally rebelling against Nazis, but they really had like the rebellious youngster protester kind of spirit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I guess that's it.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, this has been Game Theorem. We have a Twitter account, Game Theorems. Yeah, there's an S at it. We also have a Patreon if you guys want to give us the monies. And we have an email, gametheorems@gmail.com. And I'm Kyle.
I'm Kara.
These have been our opinions. They're not facts, and they're also based on preliminary content, so disclaimers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.